There's a reason the RAV4 is the most popular compact SUV in the US year after year. Well, there's actually many reasons. It's a Toyota, it's reliable, the resale's great, it fits everybody inside, it's priced well. What else can you say? Well, you can say a few things because it's not a perfect car, especially not next to some newer competitors. But I'm gonna take this 2023 RAV4 Adventure, which is a more off-road friendly looking SUV, and I'll show you what it does and doesn't do. The RAV4 has been around for decades. This one was brand new for 2019. It gets some very minor changes, and there's 13 different trims you can buy in 3 different powertrains. There's a lot of versatility and a lot to like. The RAV4 is a simple powertrain. A 2.5-liter naturally aspirated inline-four puts up some healthy figures, but not quite the output you're seeing in the new 2024 Tacoma, which is a new turbo 4-cylinder that I hope Toyota brings to this one. Still, there's an 8-speed automatic and it gets pretty decent fuel efficiency in either front or all-wheel drive. And if you want more power and more efficiency, there's the RAV4 Hybrid. Check out those numbers. I like that one a whole lot better actually than this one, but this is the volume leader, but you have the choice. That's kind of nice. If you want contrast, you get the Adventure trim. It's got the black 19-inch wheels, some skid-looking plates. They're not actually skid plates. You have to get the TRD version of the RAV4 to actually get some real upgrades to it, but this is not meant to be a hardcore SUV. It just looks that way. You get this greenish gray paint, black fender extensions, black on the taillights and the mirror caps, and this light gray roof. Very subtle, but when you look at it up close, you can tell that you paid a little bit more for this RAV4. Cargo space, 38 cubic feet behind the seats, 70 when folded, and possibly the slowest closing tailgate known to mankind. This one here, especially with that Adventure grille on the front, it's bolder, it's shaped differently. I think you should get one that looks like this. Even if you're not a rugged person, why not dress like it? These colors are exclusive to the Adventure trim. I think it's the nicest RAV4 you can get. Gray, orange. Very important because these days, orange truly means you're an adventurous person. Orange is the new trend. You'll find it on Subarus and a lot of other SUVs, and it's done to a really nice effect here. On the center console, in the cup holders, the stitching on the dash, everything is pretty high quality. This is not a very expensive vehicle, and all the fit, all the finishes are exactly what you'd expect them to be. The seats are Lexus comfortable. It is Toyota after all, so despite how sporty it looks in here, this car is meant for the long haul. However, I don't feel as comfortable looking outside. The windows are definitely shorter than some other competitors, so it does feel slightly more cramped inside, even though technically it's roomy. Toyota is one of those companies that makes the rear seats just as plush as the front. Can honestly say that. There's decent legroom, decent headroom, but it's not as roomy as a Subaru Forester and some other vehicles, so about average. You're looking at the 10.5-inch display, brand new screens, way more high resolution, and a much better infotainment interface. Long time coming here at Toyota, they finally did it. There's also wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto when you connect it. That's a big plus. And you don't get this on the base RAV4s. You get an 8-inch screen, that's an upgrade from the 7-inch, but it's running the older system. So if you want the better tech, please, upgrade, it's worth it. Also, there's a search function available from anywhere in the menu. It's got a natural AI voice assistant, and you can also type things. So for example, if I wanna maybe see Rage Against the Machine, all right, well, it may not be perfectly adept at predicting what I want, but you can go between media, navigation, vehicle settings. It's not perfect, but hey, it's a lot easier than before. Driving the RAV4 with this engine makes me feel like I might be in a Subaru with how loud and thrashy it is. This is a pretty terrible engine. I'm just gonna go out there and say it. But there is a solution, time. Because with time, Toyota's gonna put a turbo 4 in the RAV4, as they will across most of their products. If you look at what's happening right now with the Tacoma, with the Tundra, even the new Highlander, there's a new turbo 4 that's replacing this naturally aspirated 2.5-liter. And that one's gonna make a big difference because this is what happens when you step on the gas now. hardly any peak power. Now you're getting it, but listen to how we're getting there. And you don't get much going either. You really don't. The new turbo engines are going to improve the low-end torque, the response time, whether you're passing, whether you're accelerating from a stop. And I guarantee, even though I have not personally driven those yet, that they're going to be smoother and quieter. So Toyota has resisted doing that for years, and I'm sure this engine, as it is, will probably last forever. It'll outlast most people. But that's not enough today. It's not. Where you can go better is if you choose the RAV4 Hybrid. Now, it does have a detuned version of this engine, and yet it works better. Don't ask me why, but when paired with the electric motor, watch that review. I did it a few years ago. My verdict still stands true today. It is the better performing RAV4, both in acceleration, response, fuel efficiency, and handling. Who would have thought? But the hybrid is the way to go. I would totally recommend it over choosing this regular gas RAV4. I just do. And the hybrid is available in so many different trims, so you don't have to order the base version or the fully loaded version. You can do that, and there's models in between. There's 13 RAV4 trims in total, so even if I don't prefer this particular powertrain, there's lots of choices. There's also the RAV4 Prime, which is a plug-in hybrid. We've also got a review on that. Now, once you get up to speed in a RAV4, and you will eventually, you realize why this car sells so many copies in a year. 300,000, 400,000 is big numbers because it drives well. In a straight line around turns, and let's face it, most RAV4s are being driven dead straight on the highway or in rush hour, and it's comfortable. It is. The steering's nice and light. The seat is bolstered just enough. You could take long trips, no problem. Good gas mileage. I mean, this is a best of all worlds kind of car, whether you're in a city, whether you're in a suburb. It fits everywhere. It's the perfect size. It truly is. And the nice thing is, there are multiple driving modes, easily accessible. Ooh, the brakes though, oh, they are really soft. That I am not a fan of. Now, Sport Mode tightens up the steering a bit. I don't think it does much to the transmission tuning, at least not to my feeling. You certainly wouldn't want to make the engine any louder. That would be a problem, but let's not focus on the powertrain. Let's focus on the handling, because that is where Toyota shines. Atiyeh Toyota has made that his mission. From every car Toyota sells, the chassis has to be excellent. And this is. The rigidity is up. The suspension compliance is perfect. Out of the box, you're getting a car without adaptive dampers or any fancy electronics. It's just tuned properly. This is something that not even Hyundai and Kia have completely mastered. They're almost there, but Toyota definitely has. And that's the thing. I know I'm not driving a Supra, but when you're talking about crossovers, you have a higher center of gravity, and with that comes an innate, well, lack of handling. It's worse. That's why when you get in these cars, there's, right above my head, there's a rollover sticker from the federal government warning you that if you take a turn too quickly, you're going to fall over on two wheels. So in an SUV or a crossover, that type of handling does matter because it makes you feel more comfortable at normal speeds in normal everyday situations. That's what the RAV4 does. And if you don't know what I mean, try one of these, then drive, say, a Subaru Forester. They are like two completely different cars. They really are. Toyota RAV4, I would say it's really close to the Mazda CX-5. That's a better handling SUV in this class. But man, this certainly beats the Honda CR-V and the Ford Escape. Not really that hard to beat the Ford Escape these days, but this does. And it's just, yeah, there's a lot of control. It doesn't really roll that much. Again, if you get the hybrid version of this that has sport-tuned dampers, and I can feel the difference on that, you definitely can. This one has a little bit softer ride compliance, I would say. but it's just good. This is a really good example of how you build an SUV that fits all categories of people. Comfort and just enough sportiness to give someone behind the wheel a good time. Even though the handling is really good, the brakes on this car, some pretty spongy initial pedal feel. Not as confident, but I'll give the RAV4 a pass for that. The 2023 Toyota RAV4 starts at $27,975. This RAV4, the Adventure trim with all-wheel drive, was $39,763 with destination. There are more than a dozen competitors in the compact SUV and crossover space. There's way too many to list, and the RAV4 beats them all every year. But is it the right one for you? We have taken quite the adventure together with this new RAV4, and I am still smitten with the styling, with the chassis, and especially the new infotainment, but I do not like that engine. That's gotta go. The turbo engine's gotta go in, because that's what this RAV4 deserves to keep selling. But who cares, right? Because it's gonna sell no matter what I say, no matter what you say. Overall, this vehicle just hits everything that shoppers want, and I do like it, I get it. And check out the comparisons and the single car reviews we have of other Toyota vehicles. It's right here on the CarGurus YouTube channel. So subscribe, and we'll see you next time.